Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Southbridge Board of Health. I apologize for the tardiness. It is now 6:05 p.m., June 29th, 2023. Open meeting. Roll call.
Jasmine Canones?
Yes.
Nicole Duffy?
Here.
Paige Sutka?
Excused.
Thank you. Dan Grabowski?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Agenda item number 3, to accept the meeting minutes. I'm going to start with May 11th, 2023. I'm fine with that. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes, May 11th, 2nd, 2023.
So are we skipping February 16th?
No, I'll mention that.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Jasmine Canones?
Yes.
Nicole Duffy?
Yes.
Dan Grabowski?
Yes.
Thank you.
Meeting minutes for February 16th, 2023. In light of, as I had mentioned before, of how involved it is, I'd like to table that for now. I'd like to make a motion to table that.
I'll make a motion to table the minutes
Okay.
of February 16th.
Thank you.
So that's a second.
Yeah.
Nicole Duffy?
Yes.
Dan Grabowski?
Yes.
Jasmine Canones?
Yes.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 4, Citizens Forum. Is there anything that anyone wants to speak about that is not on tonight's agenda? Oh. That's okay. Kevin? Just announce your name and you.
Kevin Buxton, 149 Everett Street. This is really the first time I come before the board since before COVID. It's been over 3 years. It's ironic though. Previously, there were occasions where it was the Board of Health, the Health Department, and one citizen, myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And here we are again.
Right?
Present company except because you're councilors and council elect. I just wanted to go over some kind of important issues with the curbside contract going so quickly to be signed. The process of municipal liens to make sure that I believe it's D2 or 2D citation tickets get properly signed. Yeah. The municipal liens, is that in process?
That is in process. Yes, it is. It has not been finalized. My understanding is it's in the hands of the town manager. Okay? So essentially, I need approval to move forward with this in a way in which department heads such as the treasurers and the assessors are all on board and will assist me.
I don't need.
Okay, but what's your question then?
It is in process. It is going to be.
That is in process.
Do
I can't tell you if it's going to be. It also necessitates approval from town council, which I understand.
All right. The other item is on total inventories.
Could you say that again? I'm sorry.
Total
Okay.
inventories.
Thank you.
There was some question as far as ownership. I believe the trash toters were purchased through a grant by the town and distributed to residents. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I know they are distributed to residents. Where they were purchased, the funds, I don't know.
Can we find that out to be sure?
I can certainly try.
Thank you.
We still need to do an inventory per units. There were some question as to some single families having more than one trash toter.
Well, when you say we, who do you mean we? I don't understand what you
During the
mean.
process of the curbside, there was some discussion about that people have over the years been able to accumulate trash toters.
Yep.
We're gonna need an inventory of 6,300 households, each of which, you're talking over 12,000 toters, if each household has only 2 toters. It's just another item that needs to get started now so that we can be better prepared for the beginning of the new contract.
Okay, one more.
Go
Dan
ahead.
has a question. Go ahead.
as far as I know, when those toters first came out, are we talking the regular trash or not the recycling ones, right? Because you could buy those. You could, if you wanted an additional toter, you could go to the DPW and buy one. I think at the time for $35. I could be wrong with the amount.
I'm sorry,
But you
I
could.
didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry, I meant to interject. As far as, to my knowledge from before, it was always, is it still the same, whereas the toters are, people are supposed to be able to get as many toters as they want for free? Is that how
Are we
it
talking
works?
about trash or recycling?
Recycling, the toters for the
Yes,
recycling.
they can get
Okay.
as many
That's what I
recycling
thought.
bins as
Yep.
needed.
I just wanted to make sure, okay.
They're
is
not
that
free.
However, they're not free, they're $60. The
Okay.
trash
Right.
containers is one per household.
Okay.
Right, okay, that's what I
If a
thought.
single family has more than one trash container, then we would need the address.
The
so we
trash
can
I
follow
understood,
up
I just
on
wanted to
it.
make sure about the recycling, because I remember them saying that. So is that, were you referring to the recycling
Well, I'm referring to
or
both.
the trash? Okay.
As far as having an additional recycling toter, I mean, I haven't read the contract.
Okay.
I heard that the tipping fees on recycling has gotten higher. I don't know what the tipping fee on trash is. And to tell you the truth, I'm not gonna read the contract. I have bad eyesight, and it's not my thing. I wanna make sure that we get off on the head start to make sure that if we're gonna have to enforce rules and regulations, the rules and regulations are there to be enforced. If we're going to have to accumulate maybe some overstocked toters here and there of people who have gotten them over the years, it needs to get done. Because if we're gonna do this fairly for everybody involved,
Thank you.
then we all have to play on the same playing field. It's just a matter of knowing who owns what. Now, like I said, I believe there was a DP grant that gave us $500,000 for the initial trash toters. So those trash toters are technically property of the town.
Okay. I'm gonna,
However, the recycling toters were handed out by another entity, another company, in 2007.
okay.
It needs to be.
I'm just keeping time, so we had 5 minutes, and I want to hear what you have to say. Councilor Dow, you had a question?
Thank you, Chair, for you. I believe when they was moving the container out, every container have a number that belongs to the house, so you can tell who's or where it's going to. So I think they have record how many container out and which house they belong to. So if you see a couple of containers like the Melissa said, in front of single house, you can send her the information and they can tell by the number on the containers where that container belongs to that house or somewhere else. Thank you.
Dan, you had a question?
Now, Mr. Buxton, you want to know how many containers are out throughout the town or per household? The reason being because there was a gentleman here a few months ago that he didn't have any. Remember that he came in, someone stole them because, you know, there are probably some households who don't have them. People move on and, you know, sometimes people do take them for other
Right,
uses.
they're lost.
I'm sure there's some that Casella handed out in 2007 that had never seen a truck.
Right.
Mr.
But
Tanya, you had a question?
that's what we need to crack down on in the future.
Okay,
The
thank you.
recycling toters, my son bought one for $60, I think it was, or 56, I forget exactly what he paid for it, and they told him it belongs to him. He paid for it, it's his.
Yeah.
That's it. Who wants to tell this?
So it seems like there is already a record of the toters and recycling like as well. Due to the serial numbers on the trash cans and recycling, if you want them, you get them, you pay them, they're yours. So we're seems like
So
we're pretty good.
what you're saying is out of the 6,300 households receiving curbside, we're going to accept the fact that toters are, okay, whatever you got, it's fine.
Right.
That's not fair and even playing field, but it's another slide. It's just another slide like, oh, we're not gonna enforce this. We're not gonna enforce that. Yeah, we have mandatory recycling. And that means commercial haulers have to comply as well. But you know what? We're gonna let that slide. We don't wanna pick on our little business people. Yeah, we're gonna let that slide. That's
I
okay.
think the finance.
It's how it happens that we get to this point. And one of the main emphasis within our curbside advisory was
there's never been any enforcement of any of the rules and regulations. So when are we going to start? Thank you. I
Thank
don't
you,
know
Mr.
how
Watson.
else to explain
Thank you,
myself.
Mr. Watson. Okay. Councilman Marquetti?
Thank you. The last meeting that I came to, May 11th, I had asked for what the plan was going forward to try and cut down on the illegal dumping. And I think you've answered part of the question with Mr. Buxton's question. So I was just wondering if you could just elaborate on that. What plans do you have to, going forward, to cut down on illegal dumping in town? And I did want to point out that there's the intersection of Everett and Elm Street. There's those Planet Earth bins there, and it looks like garbage, it could be glass all over the sidewalk right in front of it. And that's another one of those
Okay.
areas that has a lot of illegal dumping right there.
Okay. Daniel, if you can check that out. Daniel, you'll be able to check that out.
Yes, the address again? Of the
You said
road?
the corner of Everett and Elm Street, so right in the corner. Is that
Right
correct?
Right at Andy's meat.
Yeah, yeah, by
Okay.
Andy's Meats. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
your plans for going forward for, I know that you start going around and checking these places out. You probably already have. I just,
Certainly. Understood, Counselor. It's difficult, but it's attainable. Now, there's proactive enforcement where we could install monitoring devices where these are. They are cumbersome and expensive. It's usually our involvement is after the fact. The dumping has already taken place. And hate to say it, much of what we found has been on town property. What I've seen with my time here is the areas, Pleasant Road, the area by the dump / the airport, that stretch. That was brought to my attention by board members last meeting. I did go up there and successfully did communicate with the DPW in order to have these items removed. It's all town property. And I did verify subsequent to their cleanup and found that it was in much better shape. So the difficulty is twofold. One, if we could find the violators before this, perhaps even post these areas. But secondly, the difficulty is having DPW, who are extremely busy, find the time to get the cleanup efforts done. Certainly with larger scale issues when there is a large amount of rubbish, trash that has been dumped, they are very reactive. But I agree with you, there's areas in town which have been traditionally and historically dumping areas. They are. And to our dismay, town property. And when we find those items, it's the direction that I take is to move with the DPW to have this corrected. And again, there is success, but I've thought about what can we do to cease this. And it's a complicated process and it's a complicated measure. I see the need for it, I absolutely agree. Particularly with these areas that are out of town, out of sight, roads, way. They're just there. So, in the very least, we could start with signage, and we could also ask the DPW if they could possibly put chains up or some kind of fencing at these areas, these turnarounds off these streets, or perhaps Jersey barriers to prevent someone actually backing up with a truck and dumping that amount. And it's usually indicative that's what happens. Somebody just shoves it off the back of a truck, off they go. Middle of the night, hard to catch.
Councilor Duff?
Thank you, Chair, for you. Any possible to put a camera when somebody,
You know what, we, at that last meeting, I believe, Marquette, we were talking about that. I'm open to that. It's just where I keep being told is there's no money. I would be for it, but no money.
Yeah.
Yes,
The
because I
installation.
think most, like, those outside area could be not about residents, like somebody going by and
Sure.
dump it and leave, so if there's a
Absolutely.
camera,
Yep,
you
yep.
know, that will take a
Absolutely.
picture of the, like a hunting camera, you know?
Oh, yeah,
Where you
completely agree.
take the plate numbers and then you can
Yep.
see people moving. I think that's really.
It's a bad practice, it's illegal. We have to have evidence, concrete evidence, to issue an order, issue a fine to the individuals. And much of the time, it's a mixture of rubbish. And I hate to say it, it's pretty indicative that it comes from a commercial entity. It's a mix of construction materials.
Yeah, but it could be.
Wheels
like a
and things
resident,
like that, and-
Not
and
resident,
it-
other homeowner,
Yeah.
doesn't know where to go with the material, just dump it.
Right.
Okay, yeah, one moment. Council Lazo?
You don't have the money, we'll find the money.
Great.
After we reorganize, if that's what you wanna do, we'll get it
Absolutely.
done.
Great.
Right, thank you.
Awesome.
Can I finish up?
It's,
Oh, I'm so, okay, Martin?
One other thing that I wanted to mention is looking at your agenda tonight, it's a little vague. And we received an update from our town's law firm, putting things on here like old business without any information, that's too vague. It may be that no one sent that to you, and I'd be happy to send that to you if you'd like.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Old business, new business.
I think we're jumping a little bit, though. I think what we're talking about right now is what's not on the agenda at this point, so I just want to finish citizens forum first, and we can absolutely go back to that, if that's okay.
What's not on the agenda is, that your agenda is, I think is wrong, you have to put a little bit more, be a little bit more explicit with your agenda.
Noted.
That's all. And I'll send that information to you if you want. Probably they
That
never
would have to
sent
be
that to you.
directed to the board members. They construct the agenda.
Thank you.
Did you have a question?
Yes, I'm a little confused. Mr. Marquetti started with talking about some dumping that occurred maybe at charity boxes at the corner of Elm and Everett. And I
Is that a
understand-
charity box, or no, that's just the corner?
It's a donation
It's a charity
box.
box.
Donation.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
And then we got onto some rural areas, it seemed like. As far as the charity boxes go, I know the Board of Health has already gone through extensive work with the charity boxes, and there's also a requirement for the sponsor of the box to maintain it as well, is it not?
That's correct, that's correct. Yeah. Dana, can you
That can
look
help
into
in
that?
the process.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have it? Mr. Cheney?
Dan, is there a, could you potentially through your association find out if there's grant money available for cameras and stuff, surveillance equipment?
I could definitely look into it, yes, sir. You know, look at all avenues. My preliminary, just review of this and research, has really indicated that it's an expensive endeavor,
All right.
okay? To place them and have them available so we can monitor them. So there's a lot of technical aspects that I'm not really fully aware of, but I see the value.
I just figured maybe DEP or some group out there would have maybe.
Maybe, yes, and I would also reach out to the police department, see what they may have, IT department, Victor, what's available out there
Right.
that we could put, say, on a tree, on a pole somewhere, to have that view. That's just one step. Like I said, really thinking out loud, it would be just coordinating efforts to put up chains, blocking access, which many municipalities do, and I've been part of. You know, these turnarounds out with your town property that you'll find couches, construction debris, just trash. Once something, Jersey barriers usually are placed, the amount of litter and rubbish and illegal dumping ceases.
Is there anyone else on Citizens Forum that has anything to speak about that's not on the agenda tonight? Okay. Next agenda item, number 5, old business. What we were following up on from last, I know that I had inquired about 5 Brick Row and inquiring about the property on Thomas Street. Where are we with that, Daniel?
Brick Row is moving to be demolished. That has to go
Okay.
forward in front of town council for full approval. Yeah. And Thomas Street is, that has been reviewed by us. We are definitely looking at all avenues to take in order to make the building either habitable or take efforts to demolish.
What about the one on Hamilton Street? That one, the blue one, that looked pretty rough. Wasn't that slated, what was the number, 375 Hamilton or 175? The one that, with the beams sticking up? I thought that was on the,
I know there was one in Hampton Street that they were working on. They,
The
at
blue
that
one,
time,
right?
it looked like they were doing a good job. I think that was the white
Oh,
one, to
so
be
it's-
honest with you. I think the blue one is the other one you're talking about.
also,
215 Hamilton Street.
right.
Not on my blighted list that I
Because that
haven't
looked
had.
rough shape. I mean, that's like right on the main road. So
No,
that was just
because
a question that I
That
brought
one,
up.
that one was on the blighted list, however, it's been recently purchased.
No kidding, all right. That's-
That
okay.
215
Good.
Hamilton Street, that's the blue one.
And that's a move we like to see.
Right.
Purchase
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
buildings to rehab them and make them habitable again.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
They applied for a building permit, if I recall.
Okay. Anything new regarding any of the blighted properties that we were discussing before? Other than these two are the hot ticket ones we're talking about.
Yes, those are the ones. We have to definitely move forward, my belief, with Brick Row because of the risk
Right.
and the level of risk associated with that building, just due to the structural integrity being so compromised. If you would go there, it's completely leaning with a tree growing out in the middle of it. It has been condemned for years and years and years, and I'd like to point out, under the Code of Massachusetts regulations, the housing code, once condemned, the Board of Health has, and if it's condemned and nothing has been done, and if that continues with over a year, we have the right to demolish that property because of the potential risk to public health and safety. So,
Just curious, so regarding the others, when we were talking about like a top 10 list, and I know we went a little over that, is there any new information or any updates regarding any of those others, I guess I was...
well, on the positive, one of the locations on Main Street, there's two properties there that has been cleaned up by the current owner that was condemned by us. And there was an extensive amount of rubbish, debris, junk, and trash littered all throughout the yard.
That one's
And
been cleaned up.
it has been cleaned up.
Which do you have?
And there was
the,
illegal
address?
dumping going on.
573 and I believe 579.
Both of
Main
them were being
Street.
cleaned up?
I
Okay.
believe so.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Does anyone have anything else to discuss about old business?
I'm glad to see that this is,
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Okay, agenda item number 5, old business. Excuse me, my mistake. Agenda number 6, ongoing business, sorry. And I believe that's typically the mental health that we typically talk about. Is there anything new going on with that from anybody? Not just Jasmine?
yeah. I mean, I guess as far as I go, I am, on July, the middle of July, I'll be opening up my 3rd respite. There'll be a free, support for, our catchment area. It just, what involves is just, folks who don't wanna, do a typical, psychiatric hospital would go into the respite. So finally got the okay. That'll be in Dudley, so I'm very excited about being able to have that resource. As far as like anything else with mental health goes, we've partnered up on our end with Mobile Crisis to be able to, kind of like de-escalate some of the and screen a little bit more of the emergency room, type calls that are going in to, avoid a large volume, a large traffic going into, an emergency room setting. So, med surg things can get done, and, there's just a large influx of folks who are needing medical and psychiatric services, but the emergency room is just getting so overcrowded. So we're hoping that, you know, by being able to provide a little bit more services and attention, you know, to psych, that, you know, folks will be able to go into the emergency room and receive the services that they need in a timely fashion.
That's great.
So,
That's great. Anyone else? Okay, so agenda item number 7, we're going to discuss the emergency tick control at Henry Street Field, why the Board of Health was not informed. First off, I just wanted to ask, I'm not even sure what the date was when this happened, actually, when the incident happened.
This was the treatment, the chemical treatment? What do you, I don't
Well, the
understand.
actual, the incident itself, when
When it was
it was known,
detected.
yeah, when did it happen? The incident itself, and then, yeah, when it was treated. I don't know anything
Well,
about it.
Okay, well, let me start off. So I'll give you an overview of what happened, okay? And certainly, let me start off with my conviction and my duty and my goal is to protect public health safety and prevent incidents of disease, okay? And certainly the disease we're worried about is vector-borne illness, Lyme's disease, which is transferred by ticks, all right? This was a concerted team effort, which included the health department, town councilors, the office of the town manager, DPW, and the recreation director. Action needed to be taken immediately, otherwise the potential risk was high due to elevated tick activity. Ultimately, we were successful in arranging a pest control company to enact control measures. This was a prudent decision to mitigate risk of infection to the public, in particular, children utilizing the field for activities. So, the events that led up to this,
Well, I just want to back
the
up.
health department,
Excuse me, Daniel.
I'm not finished.
No, Daniel, my
The health
question.
department
Daniel.
contacting the pest control
Excuse
company.
me, Daniel, my
Yes.
question was, when was the incident, the date?
What do you mean by incident? When was an inspection done? I don't understand what you mean by incident.
When the incident first happened?
The incident happened
at Henry
in
Street?
May, okay? So here's the incident. The incident entails concerned individuals, okay, the public, concerned town councilors, concerned employees of the town that came to my office and did indicate that there was a high level of tick activity, presence of ticks at Henry Street Field. Okay? Essentially, kids were having ticks on their bodies while playing at the park. Okay? So an inspection revealed a high level of tick activity, which I did. I went out there. Okay? And the dates were May 11th, give or take. Okay?
That's when you were first informed about it, May 11th?
No, I don't. I'd have to check my records. I don't have those available. Discussions were made with the chair, the town council, councilors, all the parties involved, town manager's office. All asked for the health department to assist with getting a pest control company to conduct a visit and enact control measures. In simply terms, that's all that happened. We have children being bit by ticks. I went out there, I found ticks. The town doesn't have a pest control company that's contracted, nor do they have a DPW or any other type of a licensed pest control individual to spray any type of chemicals.
Well,
So-
I just have the 3 main things, which is, when was the incident, when was it treated, and why we weren't informed?
Okay, what, the information, why weren't you informed?
I'd like to know the exact date of when it happened, when you were informed about it first, about there was a tick issue.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what the date was when it was treated, and I'd just like to know,
Well, I can
why
tell
we
you the
weren't informed.
treatment was May 29th.
Excuse me, he wasn't finished.
Okay.
I was asking why we weren't informed, even as simple as just being CC'd on an email.
Well, this was very fluid, and again, There was no, the health department did not issue an order, any type of order to correct, okay? Other than, besides me going out there, okay, identifying that there are ticks in a field at a high level and communicating to town members to give a recommendation to treat. So it's very similar, Chair, where if I was to issue an order for a food service entity, a restaurant, to enact control measures, pest control measures, I would not need to tell that to the board members. If I issue an order for a owner of a property because I find pest incidents, I do not bring this to the table of the Board of Health. I issue a correction order. That's my duty. Okay?
Go ahead,
I
Jim.
just have one quick question. Now that the field was treated, does this have to be treated again? Or was
Yes.
this, how often does it need to be treated?
The treatment will involve, from Brahman's standpoint, now Brahman was the pest control company that was contacted, okay? And the treatment that I have here, it was May 25th, okay? So that's when they made their first initial treatment, okay?
May 25th was the
Yep.
treatment?
Yeah, that was the treatment date. That I do have that in my notes. They will have to make subsequent visits to do 2 more treatments. The next one is scheduled, they would like to have it scheduled, I should say, for the end of July, August. And then following another treatment, early fall. Middle to late fall. Now, we don't have anything contracted with them, right? We're actually waiting for a transfer. No, the transfer was done, but we were actually looking something from Brahman, like a bill or a receipt or a work order. We don't know how much it's going to be. The initial treatment was $800. Okay, so that is to clarify really the events that led up to this.
Okay, so question for you. So let me understand this. So the incident you're saying, the first time you were contacted about it was approximately May 11th, and it was treated on May 25th. So today is June 29th, and this is on the table just because I happened to find this out by accident at the EHS meeting, talking about the financial aspects of it.
Mhm.
So 2 questions. First question is, we're June 29th now, we're over a month.
Tell me
We
why
weren't
you need
informed.
to know.
I'm not finished, excuse me.
Okay.
And secondly, I wanted to know why, the 29th, and again, why were we not just CC'd?
I'm waiting for this meeting. This happened, our last meeting was May 11th. Actually, I would have brought this as an announcement of what actually happened, okay? During this meeting.
And I'm assuming there were some emails and things like that. Why were we not just CC'd, informed? I mean, it's indicated as an emergency.
By who?
At the EHS, it was indicated as an emergency.
As I told you, Chair, there was no order from the Board of Health that it's an emergency.
Okay, so is that an error that it's written on the EHS agenda?
Did I write it? No. There is no order. There was no orders, other than myself going out in the field, discovering that there were pests, relaying that information, calling and searching for a pest control company to do this. So this was very time sensitive.
So you're saying it was an emergency?
No, what we're having a difficulty is communicating. You're
Yeah.
talking over me. I am trying to finish a sentence, okay? Thank you.
I'm trying to clarify. Is it an
Okay.
emergency? No. Okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Mr. Lazo has a question.
Yes, Council Lazo.
It was an emergency for the kids, not an emergency with the health inspector. Whatever was said at Education Services, I mean, I didn't write that.
Okay.
But I just want you to know, I'm the one that started the ball rolling on council.
Okay.
George Senior was our grandfather, we had kids on the field. They didn't want to postpone their whole Little League season because we had such a light winter, the ticks were worse this year everywhere. When the kids were going home and they were covered in ticks, Mr. Senior called me, and immediately I called the health department, which I talked to Dan, and I said, Dan, I said, look, well, let me go check it, and come to find out, he wanted to go to DPW. Now, Warren Trudeau used to be the guy who sprays for, he had the license, but he left 5 years ago, we don't have anybody licensed. So, right away, when it came down to the financial point, I said, if there is no funding, please let me know. Because the town manager was in the loop, Dave Adams and the chairman, I said, if we have to do an emergency transfer, that would have been under that, we would have to call it an emergency transfer. Maybe that's what they think was the emergency. But I gotta tell you, I mean, he's to be commended on how quick they handled it and how fast the kids went back to the fields. I thought it was your typical, everybody's a phone call away from making it happen. Now, after the fact, if everybody want to talk about it this meeting or the last meeting, I get it. But the thing is, when you have a problem, I'm tired of government sitting on their hands. It's what they do. They say, all right, I'm going to take care of that for you. Like this camera discussion tonight. It's right here. After reorganization, if there's a forestry camera, I would rather catch the guy instead of, there are a lot of ways to handle it. So for me, the more we communicate with Dan and everybody else, doesn't matter to me who I talk to, but he's the guy sitting at the front desk over there where we needed to talk now. I can't wait for a meeting with Dick. So for myself, I think the town council, an employee of the town, town manager, chairman of the council, vice chair, all on the same page, moving this thing forward. And we didn't want, oh geez, we need an appropriation, now we gotta wait for another meeting? On our behalf, it would be like terrible. So when everybody's in the loop, we already knew where we're gonna get the money, when we're gonna get the money, and how we're gonna get there. I'm not a health person. Whatever he said, I'm just a counselor says, if you people want a camera for your forestry camera for trash, or you need money for pesticide, we're there. We're supposed to be helping you, not go against you. So for myself, Dan,
Thank you.
the parents, let me tell you something. The parents are happy. The kids went back to work. It was a great job.
Now, I just wanted to make mention, it seems as though, just to clarify, I don't think there's been made mention that we were saying we need to meet before this.
For what?
I'm saying that it was simply, why didn't we know?
You
And
were
it's
going
past-
to be
and
finding
It's past a
out.
month.
Could I clarify?
Excuse me, Chenia?
I started the ball going,
Okay,
I believe on May 6th.
Thank
I was
you.
there on a Saturday morning with my grandchildren.
thank you.
They were infested with ticks. My 6-month-old grandson had a diaper full of ticks. Okay, so my daughter-in-law called and said, we're not going to the field no more. During the play of the game, they stopped halfway through the game to take ticks off the players. Parents came up to me. So I went to see the recreation director. I believe I went to go see him on May 10th. He was at a subcommittee meeting. I'm pretty sure it was in here. So on May 10th, he said he'd get back to me. I didn't hear back to him until, I believe it was the 15th, in council chambers. He told me there was no money, that he got in touch with DPW, there was nobody there to spray, and the recreation budget had limited funds and wasn't able to pay it. I then in turn went to see him. I called Scott and explained to him what had transpired with the rec director and those kind of things, and from that point on, he told me that he would take care of it. The kids moved the games from Henry Street Field to West Street Field because they were terrible. I think what happened was, at the meetings that we discussed this with, it might have been us as parents and grandparents saying this is an emergency. And at no time did these people intended to be an emergency. It was us as grandparents saying this is an emergency and before somebody gets an infestation. And I learned about ticks and how, because of the poor winter that the good winter that we had makes ticks infestation. I also found during this process that the town should be doing this like in early March and April to do this thing, and this is something the town lacked on. So I believe it was us parents. And I contacted Council Marquetti also right around the same time frame. And it was there that they took the ball and went running with it and got it. Now, I was gonna come to a Board of Health meeting to thank everybody that was involved in that, not as a league person, because it's just that, but as a grandparents, I was gonna do that, and the Board of Health meeting was canceled. So I wasn't able to do that, so that's why coming here today, I saw that on the agenda, so I said,
Okay.
but I can't say that. I spoke with him once a little bit about it and thanked him for, not once I heard him say it was an emergency, but he explained to me how techs work, how we need to do 2 treatments, we're late in doing it, but we should be able to do it. Now,
Okay.
after the treatment was done, we had, I think, 2 days they couldn't use the field because of the treatment, and the kids went and played there that Saturday, no techs. And the parents came up to us and said, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you.
Just a quick point of clarification. We've never had a tick problem like this. This is something like just this year. We've never sprayed for ticks on ball fields. This is like a freaky year because of the winter. We really didn't have one. So all of a sudden it's like, boom, they imploded. They're all over my property also. So I really, again, you know, when you have to handle a problem, when you got good people all around, you just get it done.
And you know, the funny thing, I see Dan all the time, and I never said anything to him about the ticks, to be honest with him, because I look at the board as doing something different.
Okay, you got a question, sorry.
Thank you, Chair,
yeah.
through you. I respect every question you ask and your concern. And I think every time we found a person care about this town and act immediately for the citizen or the children to make sure they're safe and follow, you know, the councilors or town manager or concern, I think that issue, it can be resolved, an email from you to him, please, or you don't have to say please, can you please give me an update next time, something like this, I'd like to be involved here and there. I don't think this is necessarily the public meeting, and put the directors here doing his job and make sure that the public safety is like a court. Why you do this? I want to make sure that it's like a judgment in here. You know, we work as a team, as a citizen, as a family member, as a brothers, sisters, kids, fathers. One hand. We're not here to discipline every person like to move in the right direction. I understand if he did something not right or nothing to do with the safety of the public or our kids, our children. We need to bring him to justice. I understand that, but something like this, it's shame on us. You know, he's a nice guy. I'm not defending him, but it's hard to find a person doing his job correctly. And every time we find a person doing his job and move forward for our safety and our children, here you go. We're here judging the person, discipline in front of the camera in public meeting, and then he leave, and then where are we going to find another person like this? You know, I'm sorry, it shouldn't be discussed in the public. It should be emailed between you and him. You know, inform each other, listen, is an error or not error, or this is what, it could be more communication. I think that's more respectable, bringing here to discipline a guy who's trying to make the kids safe in the town of Southbridge. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to make a comment. Again, I guess I'm a little floored. It seems like people are kind of moving it towards like this is disciplinary, and this is just simply asking why the board was not informed. And I'd like to ask you all, do you really think that's reasonable that people from the general public know before the Board of Health of what's going on in town? That it's just,
Again,
that's it.
to respond back, I respect every concern you get. I'm not against you, but that could be resolved in an email between the chair and the directors of the Board of Health. It doesn't need a meeting like this. This is my opinion and my experience in life. It doesn't need a public meeting for that. That's something, could be anything. But I think he will respond back to you and say, okay, I'll make sure next time you know. And this is what you like to know, correct? The thing is already done. Bring him here in front of the public on the camera. That's not gonna resolve any issue because the thing is done. Like I say, is more professional between the Board of Health and the chair. They communicate behind the scenes. That's more respectable for the public, for the citizen, for you and him. Thank you.
On a quick note,
Yeah.
maybe you're more formal than I am meeting-wise, but I didn't think this warranted like an agenda item. maybe a conversation with them. If you're all working together and you're the chairman of the board and he's your agent, so to speak, a casual conversation of how to go. What happened? You know, it's a two-way street on communicating. When you hear something, you go to the source, but the warrant, a formal agenda item for it, it's a little formal for this type of thing, I'm saying. I think we need to let our hair down a little bit and just look at each other and say, look, we're all in it for the same thing. We just want to take care of problems in the town of Southbridge. And in our case, it was the kids this time. The next time, it might be a blight, it might be a building, it might be whatever. I mean, tonight I learned something about forestry camera that might be needed. Well, I can tell you this, if the Board of Health comes forward with your agent, you say you need it, I can tell you right now, you'll get it.
That's awesome. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
I
you.
don't need an agenda item for it, just ask.
Thank you. So may I add something
Absolutely.
else?
Go ahead.
Okay. I do feel that I agree wholeheartedly with Councilor Dow, Councilor Lazo. You know, to be criticized in a public forum like this undermines public health rationale and responsibility. I think, you know, this is another example of the chair attempting to discredit the work of the director. I think your behavior is antagonistic, it's distracting, counterproductive, and it adds stress to an already challenging job position. I think this is very divisive, and in all respect, I think you view your own opinion in greater standing than ones by the Board of Health members or even the director.
So does have to comment on that before I comment?
And I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, communication and some of the behind the scenes communication where people are trying to, you know, stay on the same page, and, you know, they maybe don't feel like they are getting the response that they need, you know. I mean, I guess for myself, even though I don't know none about ticks and I don't know, you know, and that's not my area of expertise, and I'm not trying, you know, to make myself an expert in any of these, and I, you know, respect your work and what you do for a living,
Thank you.
right? And I'm
Thank
a
you.
volunteer and what I do for a living as well. But, you know, I think that knowing, you know, we can make a better informed decision on the things that we do know, you know. And I know that for myself, I would, you know, as a citizen, you know, that, you know, has children, also would appreciate, you know, a little bit more, you know, a little bit more involvement on things that maybe, you know, we
Understood.
could know.
Thank you.
Did you have anything? or-
I'm also thinking.
Not that and again, I actually respect people's, you know, with the boundaries and everything, and just to make mention, there actually has been several times, Danny, when I have emailed you and with a direct question, and I have not got an answer. So I just want to make that noted. Thank you.
No further comment.
No further comment? And just for the record, I just want to ask, just so we can have on record, why we weren't informed.
No comment.
Okay, no comment for the record. Let's see. And I just, okay. So as you recommended, I also filled out the public records request so I can get communications regarding the incident. So just so it's noted. Okay. And we're on agenda item number 8, health director's announcements.
I do have one pertaining to
Okay.
solid waste. This comes from Anna Smith, and I'm going to read it, if you don't mind, verbatim. I did let her know that I would address this. Excuse me. Yard waste. The yard waste drop-off at the DPW yard, 185 Gelfwood Road, opened for the season on April 17th, 2023, and will remain open until November 26, 2023, weather permitting. Commercial yard waste will not be accepted. Place leaves in paper bags available at your local stores. No plastic bags, please. No sand or dirt in bags. Brush must not exceed 4 feet in length and not more than 4 inches diameter. Compost bins. Home compost bins are available at the Southbridge Health Department for Southbridge residents for a limited time at the reduced price, $25. The cost of the bins is subsidized by Mass DEP Recycling Dividends Program grant. Visit thinkreduce.com for more information on composting. Jacobs Edwards Library is another great resource for composting information. Happy gardening. Rain barrels. The Great American Rain Barrel Program offered through the Southbridge Health Department is going very well this year. $25 for Southbridge residents, that's 45% off retail. The barrels are subsidized by the Mass DEP Recycling Dividends Program grant. Recycling. A reminder, recycling is mandatory for all Southbridge residents and businesses. In order to promote waste reduction, comply with Massachusetts state mandated waste bans, 310 CMR, and further the goals of the town of Southbridge. Mandatory recycling regulations were under the provisions of Chapter 111, 150A of the Massachusetts General Laws. Textiles. Beginning November 1st, 2022, textiles were banned from disposal in Massachusetts. I'd like me to reiterate that and emphasize. Textiles include clean/dry clothing, footwear, bedding, towels, curtains, fabric, and similar products. Place textiles in one of the convenient collection boxes through our town. Visit our website for a list of drop boxes. Please do not put textiles in the trash or recycling toters. Thank you.
See you attached.
Promises. I abide.
So the compost thing, you can buy it here?
$25.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
pretty
very
bad.
cool.
Composting bin. Composter.
How big
A
is
bin.
it?
They're adjustable.
Those are better, what do you think?
I want to buy one. Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna buy one?
Cash a check.
Check.
That's important. There you go. Agenda item number 9, chairman announcement. I don't have any announcement this time. Board members?
I have one question about smoking.
Oh, yeah.
Don't start.
How many days? How many days without one?
Congratulations.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I really don't know how to ask this question. I was in a store last week, and someone bought cigarettes, and the person said he didn't ask for an ID, he just asked for a birthday. And he gave him the birthday. The guy was like 70 years old. Is that legal?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad.
It,
I'm glad.
How it is if someone looks under the age or in the age bracket, ask. But ask for ID.
All right, that's good. I'm glad that was the
You're
answer.
supposed
They
to
have
get
to
carded
prove they're
under
of age to
40.
buy it.
Prove
Because,
they have.
because,
Yeah,
because
right.
I didn't know, because I was informed you have to, I'm glad.
Of the best practice is to ask everyone ID,
All
even
right.
if someone looks.
My second question, say I'm in the store and someone buys cigarettes,
Uh,
is not asked for an ID.
That's an issue.
So what do I do? Do I have to do anything? Do I do not have to do
You can
anything?
report that
Can I
to-
just walk out? Can I, in other words, I don't want to be in the store, going to get an all-town coffee, 24 ounces, someone asks for cigarettes, there's no ID, and I don't want to Grabowski to, hey, Dan, there's a guy down here that's buying cigarettes, no ID, I don't want to be that guy. So am I supposed to do anything?
No, a good rule of thumb is to remind them.
Or do
what
I
they
just
should
tell
do.
the store owner, listen, next time I'm in here, can you at least wait till I leave?
I would take that. I would.
I don't want to be the guy that's.
Go to a different
If you
store.
find yourself in a precarious situation, you don't want to make a decision, give me a call.
Yeah, you
We'll
gotta report
we'll take
that
it.
to
We'll take it from there.
You gotta report that to us, so we can follow up on that.
yes.
You come for cigarettes and they ask your ID, we can understand. You don't look your age, you're 75.
I just have to ask that question, but I'm glad,
Okay.
I mean, so basically, I mean,
Yes, yes, it gets
it's a
difficult.
judgment call, but I just
It
want to
is,
know like
it
this,
is.
man, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be all right. It'll be all right.
I do give operators, and
Because we no longer have the less smoke tobacco people, because they go, you know, used to do that work, and I don't want to be that guy, say, hey, Dan, you know, this guy, you know, before you know it, I'm getting lumped
please,
up.
please let us know.
Yeah.
Send a reminder. I could go there, make a visit
Yeah,
to reiterate
we're
their
gonna have to
obligations.
check that now, since we don't have that, yeah. We'll have to check that.
That's all I have tonight.
Okay. Alrighty, schedule next meeting, second Thursday of the month. Let's see. As normal, where are we at?
Are you going on vacation?
Someday.
July 13th, it looks like, that's what it is. Is that a good time and day for everybody?
That's good.
Are you on vacation?
That is a target date for my
I think so.
vacation. I had said, could we move it a week after that? That would be the 20th.
How about we do it tentative, and then we can check with Paige after, because I feel bad
So
Paige
with
hasn't been
Paige,
able to
right.
come.
I wouldn't be able to do
Yeah.
the 13th, actually.
Okay, well, why don't
Okay.
we do a tentative, July 20th, and then we'll check back with people's Paige. I mean, I feel bad, because Paige is, by no fault of her own, you know what I mean, she's had to miss, so.
Yeah.
Is that in agree, everyone agree with
July
that?
20th, that's good.
July 20th, 6 p.m.?
6 p.m.
6
Okay.
p.m.,
That's
yeah.
the day the new respite opens.
Oh, jeez.
So,
Everything's all at once with you, huh?
Good.
We write that on
And I
there.
got,
All right, wait, make motion to adjourn?
bye, yes.
Is that motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Okay, I second that.
Thank you.
We're gonna go around the, go ahead, Martha. Do your
Jasmine
magic.
Canonis?
Yes.
Bye, have a good holiday.
Oh, no, I gotta go to
Dan
Hampton
Grabowski?
Hospital now.
Yes.
Nicole Duffy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, happy
Have a good
4th of July to you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
Adjourned
At what time?
at 7:01 p.m.